Hey there, it's Steve from Serious Keto, and if you've followed this channel for any length of time, you know about the issues that I suffer with insomnia. I talk about it in my podcasts fairly frequently. I've been running all kinds of experiments on myself, trying out various sleep aids, over-the-counter sleep remedies, all kinds of different suggestions that I've received from my viewers, including things like meditation and sleep sounds and earthing, and that'll be a separate video. Today I also went and I saw a sleep specialist, and if my insurance covers it, I'll be having a sleep study done on me. I'm also a total data geek when it comes to tracking things about myself, whether that's blood pressure or heart rate or blood glucose or ketone levels, weight, of course. But I'm really curious about my sleep, and I want to be able to tie the things that I do, the things that I try out to improve my sleep, to see if they are actually helping. So a few weeks ago, I started using an app called AutoSleep and my Apple Watch. Thing is, I don't like wearing my Apple Watch to bed. It's uncomfortable to me. So I looked into the Oura Ring. And for the purposes of this video, I'm going to be putting the Oura Ring through its paces along with its associated app and compare its results to what I got from my Apple Watch and give you my verdict. Is it worth the money or not? When you first place your order with Oura, they will send you a ring sizing kit. And in the kit, you get various size rings from 6 up to 13. And you can determine which finger it's most comfortable on. I wound up going with the size 9 on my right hand ring finger. You want it to be snug, but you also want to be able to slip it off in case, I don't know, you're working with some dough or something like that, or you want to put it on a different finger, or you don't want to get it scratched up while you're lifting weights. You'll notice that this Oura Ring is quite a bit more bulky than my wedding band. And the wedding band has pretty much been in place for 25 years now. It rarely comes off, so it's kind of made a nice little comfortable groove into my hand. This still feels kind of awkward to me. It's a little bit weird when I'm typing. It feels weird when I'm putting on my shaving lotion in the morning. So I decided I would keep wearing the sizer ring just to start to get acclimated to the feel of it while I wait for my actual ring to arrive. And it arrived today. So let's open it up. Wow. Big box for a small ring. Pop off this one. I don't know if you can see, but it's got a slightly flat top so that you can see where the top is and so that you can keep the sensors down at the bottom on the underside of your hand. It's comfortable and shiny. Also in the box, we have a USB cable for those people that don't already have 15,000 USB cables in their house. So apparently this is the little charging stand that it goes on. And then there's just this quick reference card with how to install the app. And it takes all of about 10 seconds here for the app to install. Now once you install the app, it will ask you to first create an account, then you'll turn on Bluetooth, you'll probably want to turn on notifications, then you'll link the Oura app to the Apple Health app, or whatever the Google equivalent is if you have a Google or Android device. Then the app will ask you a few questions about some of your goals. It'll ask you how you're sleeping. It'll ask you about your level of physical activity, what you tend to do for exercise, etc. And then finally, if there's a firmware update, you'll get notified of that. That whole process, well, the firmware update, that took about 3 minutes. The other stuff, I would say about the same. So expect 5 to 6 minutes to get set up. The ring itself had about a 75% charge on the battery, and I'll give some updates as far as battery life and how often you need to recharge these. But for right now, I'm going to pop it on, and I'll be back with the results of my tests of the ring, the Apple Watch, and my verdict. I've been using the Oura Ring and its associated app and web app, along with AutoSleep on the Apple Watch for the last 3 weeks. In terms of data, two of the important things to me were, first, did I see a consistency between the Oura app and the AutoSleep/Apple app? Additionally, which of those two reports on any given morning felt most accurate to me based on how I felt that I slept. Now I'm going to show you screenshots of both of the apps over the course of a number of different days. The iPhone app for the Oura doesn't display as much on the screen at one time, so instead I will show you screenshots from the web interface. One of the first things that kind of disappointed me was that they both measure your sleep a little bit differently. For the AutoSleep app, the categories are awake/disrupted, which I feel I spend a lot of time in, light sleep, still/restful, and deep sleep. The Oura app measures awake, REM, light, and deep. So we don't have sort of an apples to apples, I was trying to avoid that pun, comparison between the two. I really wish that the AutoSleep app had something that would display REM time. One of the things that I've discovered since I started grounding/earthing is I am getting a lot more in the way of dreams, vivid dreams that I remember in the morning. And it would be neat to be able to see that on the AutoSleep app, but you can't. Additionally, it seems like the two categories don't line up real well between the two apps. So for starters, we'll look back at February 4th. According to AutoSleep, I had 30 minutes of deep sleep. According to the Oura app, I had almost an hour and a half of deep sleep. To me, though, one of the most important aspects is how much time I spend awake, because I feel like I spend an awful lot of time awake in the middle of the night, waking up, tossing, turning, looking at the clock, mind racing, not able to fall back asleep. And it seems that the AutoSleep app detects a lot more awake time, certainly in a way that feels more consistent with what I've been experiencing. Other aspects that I've seen between the two, heart rate, very consistent, as well as the time it takes to fall asleep. Now, you'll notice a difference on February 4th. It says I took 1 minute to fall asleep on the AutoSleep app. It says that I took 15 minutes to fall asleep with the Oura app. Now, the difference is they started measuring my bedtime a little bit different. The Oura app has me sleeping about 14 minutes earlier. So it seems that the time that it takes to fall asleep, or my sleep latency, is very consistent between the two. And some general patterns in terms of the shape, especially those peaks where I'm waking up, fairly similar. Moving on to the 5th, you see a lot more variation in the activity in the AutoSleep between both the wake time and more deep sleep, which, while it did register on the AutoSleep app, didn't in the later morning hours on the Oura app. And what I see as I move through the various days, for example, here's February 6th, I'm seeing just a lot more of that wake time on the Apple Watch/AutoSleep app. And like I said, I know that I'm experiencing this because I'm looking at the clock. I'm lying in bed. I'm thinking about what's the next YouTube video that I'm going to create. So I know that I'm awake. But for whatever reason, it's not picking up on the Ring. Unless the Ring, I don't know. I don't know if it's thinking that that's light sleep or REM. I'm not sure. Similar theme, February 7th. A lot of wake time that's just not being registered by the Oura Ring. Now, here's one that actually is fairly similar. This was on the 19th of February, and I didn't have a lot of sleep that day because we had to take my daughter off to the military processing center. She's going into the Army Reserves. So we were up at 4 in the morning, and you can see that that's reflected in this. Fairly similar results between the two. And then we have the most recent test that I did, which was for last night, and you can see some similarity between the two graphs, but what I see is consistently the Oura Ring is telling me that I'm getting more sleep than the AutoSleep app. And I can tell you, looking at last night's data saying 7 hours and 43 minutes of total sleep, I do not feel like someone that got 7 hours and 43 minutes of total sleep. I feel more like that other side here on the AutoSleep, where it says I got 5 hours and 56 minutes of sleep. And in fact, that might actually be a little bit generous. So in terms of issuing some sort of a verdict based on data, I'm kind of torn here. I feel like I like the things that are measured by the Oura Ring more, but I don't know that I agree with the results that it's getting. The next consideration is cost. If you already have a smart watch that has some sort of a sleep app, whether that's AutoSleep or something else, the AutoSleep app cost me, I think, $5. The Oura Ring, $300. This is not the most expensive ring that they have either. If you don't have an Apple Watch or a Samsung Watch or some sort of smart watch that has a sleep monitor, and you don't like the idea of wearing a watch, then maybe you lean towards Oura Ring. But what wound up being the ultimate sort of deal breaker for me on the Oura Ring is comfort. When I first put it on, it didn't feel all that bad to me. And maybe that's because I had just put it on and I wasn't actually doing any day-to-day activities like typing or anything else. It feels very awkward to me. In fact, if my fingers are straight, you'll see that my pinky actually gets pushed away from the rest of my hand. And I really feel that when I'm typing. Typing is very, very weird for me with this on, very uncomfortable. I also find that I need to take it off for doing lots of different activities, whether that's lifting weights, cooking, shaving even, to put on lather and stuff. I don't feel right with this ring on. And ultimately, for me, that was it. That's why I'm going to return the Oura Ring. Now, I think the build quality is great. I think it looks wonderful. I think perhaps for some people that are used to wearing rings, they might be quite comfortable wearing this. But for me, I wasn't. So now I'm going to summarize across a few different categories which has the advantage over the other. The first is cost. If you already have a smartwatch, clearly the cost advantage goes to using AutoSleep or some other sleep app. If you don't already have an Apple Watch and you're not interested in any of the features of that, or a Samsung Watch or whatever smartwatch, well, then the advantage goes to Oura. In terms of comfort, I kind of consider it a toss-up. During the day, I'm far more comfortable wearing my watch. Not so much the Oura Ring, which you'll see is not on me anymore. It's back in the box. At night, however, I prefer the ring on. It's just more comfortable. So if you're purely monitoring sleep and not activity, then maybe advantage Oura Ring. In terms of motion tracking and movement and steps and all of that stuff, I would say it's a wash. They're equal. In terms of measuring heart rate, also equal. They have been remarkably consistent between the two in my measurements. Measuring body temperature, advantage Oura. The Apple Watch doesn't do it. In terms of charging, Apple Watch, I find I get a little bit more than a day out of. Of course, this is a Series 4, it's an older watch. The Oura Ring, I suspect I could probably go at least 3 days, probably closer to 4 or 5 with that, just based on what I've seen in terms of the charge on that. So if you're looking to charge something a lot less frequently, advantage Oura. In terms of the data and reporting, they both have their strengths and weaknesses. I kind of lean a little bit towards AutoSleep. Within the settings, there are a lot of things that you can tweak in terms of its sensitivity. I haven't dived into all of that, but it feels like the app is maybe a little bit more robust. More importantly, it feels like it's representing in its reports what I'm actually experiencing at night with my sleep or lack thereof. The one disappointment that I have with AutoSleep is it doesn't track REM sleep. And I'm not sure how the Oura Ring does that, if it has anything to do with body temperature or heart rate or what exactly. I wish that I could combine the best aspects of both of those apps together. So while the Oura Ring wasn't right for me, hopefully based on what I've shared with you, objectively about both the Oura Ring and AutoSleep, you can make a decision and decide if it's something that's right for you. They do have a 30-day return policy, and there was no questions asked. They were very cool about that. It was very easy to do. We'll see if I get my money back, but at least in terms of issuing me an RMA very quickly, they were all over that. They didn't question me. It was a lot smoother than I kind of expected it to be. So props to Oura on that. But I hope this review was helpful to you and will help you make a decision now that you've got a little bit more information. Thanks for watching.